Our third plenary session is on sectoral strategies for business recovery to ensure regional prosperity, facilitated by Ambassador Benedicto Jujuico. Benedicto is the Honorary Chairman and immediate past President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce. Please make him welcome.
I was conscripted to be the chairman or the moderator of this committee, of which I'm happily doing. I will be introducing two young people, young business people. First one from Mongolia. I told him that I was in Mongolia before he was born. I was just kidding. But in fact, I was there together with a very large CACCI delegation. I was there, I think, around 2011, 2012. And the gentleman will explain to you their strategy, the government strategy of how to accelerate the economic recovery through tourism. The second gentleman is from my country. He is one of the leading young entrepreneurs. He is, in fact, the founder of the Philippine Young Association of Entrepreneurs, is that right? Young Entrepreneurs, PYEA. Yes, and he actually has been a speaker in some of the sessions here. Those of you who might be interested, I served CACCI for a couple of years as president in the early, 2000 to 2012, something like that. And has been a member of a CACCI advisory board since then. And I'm in real estate. And so on and so forth. So I'm sure that what this young gentleman will be telling you will be quite interesting. I'm not going to preempt what they're going to say, but having been to Mongolia, I guarantee you, you haven't seen the biggest statue in the world of Genghis Khan unless you visit Mongolia. And it's there. And also, you will learn about how come he had 3,000 wives. For you gentlemen, if you want to know the technique of how to accumulate 3,000 wives, you go to Mongolia, among other things. Not only tourism, but their number one industry in Mongolia is mining, gold mining. In fact, one of the largest gold mines in the world is in Mongolia. I visited Mongolia, the mine there. Actually, we were walking around the mine, and I kind of stumbled, and the guy picked up a kind of a small rock, and he said, "See, this is gold." I said, "Can I keep it?" He said, "No, you have to give it back." Anyway, so that's going to be an interesting presentation. I saw some of the slides. And for the Philippines, we in the Philippines have one of the youngest population in Asia Pacific. I believe our median age is 25 or thereabouts. And we consider this as one of our biggest assets, particularly going forward. Actually, the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation forecasted that the Philippines will be the 16th richest country in the world by 2050. That's the bad part, by 2050. Because those of you who are familiar with the Philippines, you know that in the 50s and in the 60s, we were already the second richest country in Asia. Don't ask me to tell you what happened, because I'm going to stand here for 20 minutes, for 1 hour at least. But that is what happened to my country, and Mr. Gerodias will be the one to tell you what kind of strategies our country have, primarily using the youth and teaching them a lot of things in innovation, entrepreneurship, in technology, AI, cloud, robotics, and so on and so forth. So without ado, we will call the speakers. Who wants to be first?
First of all, I would like to thank and congratulate CACCI for successfully organizing its 36th CACCI conference here in Melbourne. And it has been a fruitful and very informative discussions. Also thank CACCI for giving Mongolia the chance to present here today. And I am honored and humbled to present at this very important event in front of all of you. Okay, Mongolia is an emerging tourism destination, and for countries such as here in Australia, we are rather less known new destination if we look at the statistics. A little bit of history. Mongolia's first state-owned tourism enterprise called Gerelsaikhan was established in 1961. And at that time, we received a small number of tourists from the Soviet bloc countries of the time. After the democratic revolution in 1990, the state-owned enterprise was privatized and private-owned companies started to establish. Now we have 350 tour operators, 400 hotels, also some 450 tourism camps. Mongolia offers a variety of tourism products which are based on its rich resources of nature, history, and culture. We could categorize Mongolian tourism regions as seen here. For example, the Western Mongolia is a home of many ethnic groups and different cultures, as well as high mountains, which are ideal for extreme tourism. In the northern Mongolia, with the prestigious Hubskul Lake, the freshwater lake, is developed as eco-tourism destination. Central Mongolia and the Orkhon River Valley were the center of Great Mongolian Empire and several other states that was established before the Mongolian Empire, and is now destination for ecotourism and historical tourism. Mongolian Gobi in the south is excellent for tourism with its paleontological and archaeological discoveries, as well as unique flora and fauna, and also its monuments of the Great Silk Road and Tea Road. In the eastern Mongolia is the birthplace of Genghis Khan, and historic places that have historic events related to him. Mongolia also has the thousands of years old culture, tradition, and nomadic way of living, which is now also a good attraction for tourism. Mongolia promotes tourism events that is based on its natural and cultural resources. For example, we have a festival on the Hubskul Lake, the ice festival. We have Eagle Festival in the Western Mongolia. We have 10,000 Camel Festival in the Gobi. Also the Yak Festival in the Central Mongolia, and many more, which are organized throughout the year. A recent research that is impact assessment of the COVID-19 outbreak which is done by UN World Tourism Organization, say that nature, rural tourism and road trips have emerged as popular travel choices among travelers due to travel limitations and the quest for open-air experience. And we think that Mongolia is the ideal destination for this. Government of Mongolia announced 2023 to 24 as Visit Mongolia year and planned various activities in order to boost the tourism sector. For example, introducing e-visa and visa facilitation policy to liberalize the international flights and not against the protectionism of the state-owned airline company in order to bring the price of airfare down as well as to increase the number of seats. Also to increase Mongolia's visibility in the international tourism market and increase promotion of Mongolia by running the tourism marketing campaign. Also to targeted promotion using the AI technologies. Also to hygiene and safety standards to be aligned with the WTTC, that's the World Travel and Tourism Council, Global Safe Travels Protocol, to enhancing high service standards from point of entry to throughout the states of travel in Mongolia. I thank you very much for your kind attention and wish you all the best of success.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rommel Gerodias from the Philippines, and I'm here to present the sectoral strategies for business recovery to ensure regional prosperity on the sector of the youth and the young entrepreneurs. And I am representing here the Young Entrepreneurs Group of Asia Pacific, and so it will not be just specifically from the Philippines, but I will be mentioning some specifics also. But let me introduce to you the young and the youth of the Asia Pacific. The Asia Pacific is home to 55% of the world's young people. Over 660 million youth live in Asia Pacific, and that's quite a number. Growing number of young people in Asia Pacific are taking the path of entrepreneurship, and which drives a lot of inclusive growth and sustainable development. And this is very good news for us because we have to bring in more and more young people to get into entrepreneurship to drive growth. And most of the young entrepreneurs in the Asia Pacific are part of the MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. And they are the employers of the Asia Pacific. Youth-led small and medium-sized enterprises, startups, and social enterprises make a vital contribution to the economic and social fabric of the region. And most of the enterprises that are being brought up by most of our young entrepreneurs are naturally socially responsible. And maybe that's the path that they're taking right now. 92% of young entrepreneurs have been negatively impacted in the first year of the pandemic, and there's a lot of challenges that they had to face. So here are the challenges. In 2021, 1 year from pandemic, the Youth Collab study found that 39% of youth-led enterprises have received no form of financial assistance. And some of them were just left to die. So most businesses just closed down, and they were trying to seek help, but never found help, or they're just too far from where help is coming from. 47% experienced challenges related to access to finance and investment. Some of them are not aware that these are available. because they are not educated enough to get access to finance investment. 60% are related to workplace and workforce. Most young entrepreneurs during the pandemic, in the first year of the pandemic, they were forced to work at home or forced to close down their shops or lay off some of their workforce. 40% related to supply chains. A lot of young entrepreneurs in the first year of the pandemic, they were not able to manufacture, produce products because there were no supplies. There was a shutdown of transport systems, there was a shutdown of logistics, and they had to find ways to deliver products to their customers. And so the problem comes in for the customers at 83%. 57% experienced decrease in sales, which is very natural because not only the young entrepreneurs are experiencing decrease in sales because of the lockdowns, and 59% experienced decrease in cash flow. But it's not for all. 23% increased their sales during the pandemic. These are the guys who pivoted right away at the start of the pandemic, and some of them are vital and needed during the pandemic, and so their business still moved on. So what were the pivot made by the young entrepreneurs during the pandemic? Youth-led enterprises rapidly pivoted their business models to address the challenges of the pandemic. Most of them turned to digitization and the Internet of Things, and they used collaborative media that can reach their customers. That also includes apps that deliver products and logistics that are based on apps. And the young entrepreneurs during the pandemic, rather than simply providing a safety net, like what if you attended the session yesterday for the YEGAP, one of our speakers, Julia, she just didn't hibernate. A lot of young entrepreneurs offered solutions that go beyond recovery and are helping to create a more resilient and sustainable societies. So, as I was telling you earlier, most of the young entrepreneurs' enterprises are protecting livelihoods, access to critical goods, enhancing services for vulnerable groups, advancing mental health, and combating misinformation and fake news. These are all social enterprises, and most of them thrived during the pandemic, and they have helped a lot in helping those people who are just trapped in their homes. So what's the outlook? Young people are uniquely qualified to play a role in our recovery from COVID-19. Why? Because they have the greatest stake. They are the beneficiaries of the decisions that we are going to make today. So, youth-led enterprises have been effective in harnessing partnerships to support their communities to address challenges brought on by the pandemic. And again, it's naturally social. It's not working. So what are the support needed by the young entrepreneurs? Most of the young entrepreneurs right now are suffering a lot when it comes to finances. And that includes a lot of business, including my business. So we had to suffer during the pandemic, and even after the pandemic. We are in the food and beverage industry. And young people, we are not taken seriously by institutions like banks or even loan facilities. When you approach them, you don't have track records, you don't have credibilities, you don't have collaterals that you can give to the loan facilities. And so these are one of the greatest support needed by young entrepreneurs, access to finance. And a lot of young entrepreneurs from places where there are no education, but they're just entrepreneurs, they're naturally business people. They have no idea on how to apply for grants, for cash transfers, and they do not know that these are even available. In many countries, there are tax holidays for new enterprises, But in most countries, we do not have that. And so, like in the Philippines, when we started up our business, we are required to register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue right away. And so that means we have to pay tax right away, even if we have not made money yet. So, we have different types of taxes. Like here in Australia, they have various taxes here. So they have GST and the income tax and whatever. So there's a list of tax that you pay. In the Philippines, when you sell an item and you are registered with the revenue office, then you automatically pay a tax for the purchase that was made from your company. And even if you didn't make money out of that, you still have to pay that tax. And there are no tax holidays during the pandemic, but there were extension of deadlines, but no exemptions from taxes. So these are the things that we still need, even after the pandemic. When you're putting up a business and you have a very low capital, young entrepreneurs are opening businesses at very low capital. And most of the time, they're all used up in government regulatory compliances. And you end up not having money to run your business because of those. And you are not educated on how to pay taxes. So you end up not remitting tax on time, and you get penalized. And so when that happens, it eats up your capital. And another support that is needed is the low interest loans. These are the finance-related support that is needed by young entrepreneurs. For non-financial support, especially coming in from non-government organizations and institutions and chambers, advice and training related to technology or digital solutions, especially those who are far away from the cities, far away from where these are offered, we should reach out to them. Advice and training related to marketing and branding so that the products will reach out to the market. And one of the major things that are needed for young entrepreneurs in Asia Pacific, especially in the developing countries, are the advice and mentoring on financial planning. Because they know that they have the money, that they can open a business, but they don't know how to manage their money, and then they end up broke. So these are the things that we need to help on when it comes to non-financial support. So from the chambers, so what do we need from you? So you are all here, so it's our chance to give this appeal. The young entrepreneurs need a seat at the table. And we thank you for putting up Young Entrepreneurs Group of Asia Pacific for CACCI, because these are chance to express our all the things that we need to express to the organization and to the chambers. And one of the biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur at a very young age is you're not being taken seriously. And sometimes when we offer policy advocacies, or sometimes when we put on the table some economic and social programs that we would like to pursue, they are not taken seriously. And the older guys would think that they know better. But it's changing right now. But we still need this support from some other chambers that are not still giving opportunities for young entrepreneurs on the table. And we also ask some of the chambers around Asia Pacific to organize young entrepreneurs in their countries and in their localities. We have a lot of members here in Asia Pacific in CACCI, but when we were starting to call up for membership for YEGAP, we noticed that not so many young entrepreneurs group are organized in some countries. And so we seek your support in putting up young entrepreneurs group in your countries and link them to us so we can work together, share best practices. And of course, we want to have collaborative roles with you, the chambers, in promoting new technology, processes, and systems. And again, we need you to provide us assistance and access to finance. That's very, very important to us. And for youth-led, and not only youth-led, women-led enterprises, in some countries, women are not given opportunities to put up businesses, and they're not taken seriously as well. And so, again, we need a seat at the table, and please help us organize young entrepreneurs in your country and help us collaborate with you and provide us assistance in a lot of things that we need. Thank you.
Okay, we now open the forum for questions, but before I do that, as a matter of encouragement to Young Entrepreneurs Association for Asia Pacific, I want to tell you that you have an icon, a candidate of Young Entrepreneurs of Asia Pacific, became the youngest billionaire dollar. He was a candidate in 2010. He didn't win, but, pardon me? But became billionaire. You know, and in fact, that was the, Jamal, that was the time when we had the CACCI conference in Colombo. The secretariat told me, sir, there's a Filipino here who is a candidate for CACCI Young Entrepreneur Award. So I said, good, what's his name? I didn't know him. So they told me his name. So I said, oh, you better come. Tell him to come. I want to talk to him. And of course, I asked him to tell me his story. And at that time, he was not so big yet, but I spotted the potential. I told him, you know what, whether you win this or not, when we get back to the Philippines, you and I are gonna set up a business. You and I are gonna be partners. He said, okay. And in fact, we did become a partner. And if you look him up, he is in the list of richest Forbes, etc., etc. So there you go. You can tell, because of CACCI, okay, you can, no, maybe we cannot claim that because of CACCI. But you can say, as an encouragement for those young people to join the Young Entrepreneurs Group, say, look, what happened, we were able to encourage someone who at 33, 33 years old, became the youngest dollar billionaire. So there you go. Anyway, I have lots of stories to tell you, but this is not my jig. So I'm going to ask you to please refer questions to Tsolmon and Rommel.
Paula is my name, from New South Wales Business Chamber. So thank you very much to both of you for your presentation. I've got a question for the second speaker, the youth speaker. In Australia, we've seen a change in young entrepreneurs not considering joining chambers of commerce because of their ability to access information, content, support in other ways, you know, especially through the use of the internet and all of those apps and products that are available to them. Do you?
Yeah, I think that happens a lot in countries like mostly undeveloped countries, because the young entrepreneurs in countries like yours have access to information and big data sometimes. But for some other countries, like developing countries, the reason why we are not having the reason why not so many young entrepreneurs are joining the chambers, sometimes they think they're too small for the chamber. Sometimes they think that way. And perhaps it's not just that they can do it their way, it's just that they think they're too small for the chamber, because the chamber is like, wow, it's a chamber. It's like for the made people, for the made business. So if the marketing program will be more of like encouraging startups, encouraging young entrepreneurs with small capital to join the chamber, then it will be more attractive to them, because it's not just information and financial support that we need from the chambers. We need the network. We need the mentoring. We need all of this from the chamber, because they have more experience, and we can ask them things that we do not have access just right away from the internet. Even if you check it on LinkedIn, people will just talk to you there. So, but if you go to the chamber and you're part of a chamber and you're vouched by the chamber, then you will have access
to more network, to more data, to more finances, business partners, supporters, suppliers, and possible customers. So these are the benefits that we get from the chamber. And so it suggests that you need information. So I think the marketing program of the chamber should be more of opening up for young entrepreneurs and perhaps giving them, the one that they were saying earlier, like the government tax holidays. So please give them not so very expensive membership dues so that they will not be turned off in joining the organization. So I think that's it.
Rommel, may I add something? Actually, the chambers will have to take the initiative to make it attractive for the young people to actually join. And I'll share with you one of the experiences of the chamber I'm familiar with. For instance, Rommel is a member, is an officer actually of the Philippine Young Entrepreneurs Association. And they actually, this association, they have a meeting in a area which is sponsored by the Philippine Chamber. So in this area is an ecosystem, as Rommel was saying. They can meet professionals, they can meet people who can raise money for them, they can meet other engineers who they can interface to try to develop their ideas. And so it's an ecosystem that they actually can be provided. No? In the Philippines, it's called Meridian Innovation Center. Actually, the president of your organization holds meetings in Meridian. So that is an initiative. That is something that the chambers can do. Actually take the initiative to interest the young people and to actually tell them, okay, for this week, if you guys want to meet people with funds, and if you are looking for funds, we are going to arrange a meet-up. We'll give you food, sandwiches, and whatever, and you can meet. And that's how the chambers can actually interest the young people to actually interface with them. But if you will not say anything, they think that to join a chamber means you will join a board meeting of old people. You have to change their idea of what happens in a chamber. And actually, the initiative will have to come from the chamber.
Are there other questions?
Why don't you ask Rommel? Sorry, not Rommel. Tsolmon. I was asking why you did not show the snow, the beautiful snow of Mongolia. Are you trying to not encourage us to visit during winter? Tell us a little bit more. Actually, he did a good job, but there are many CACCI members who have been to Mongolia. And, Mongolia is so nice. I want to tell you that it's really a nice place, nice people, but I will not encourage you to go there in winter. Temperature is like minus 35 degrees. Even the engine of the truck, they have to cover in blanket so that it will start the following morning. But otherwise, Mongolia is a really nice place. Yeah, yeah. And it's a Visit Mongolia, right? Next year. So
Next year.
please tell us a little bit more.
Well, it is quite a cold place. Actually, last time was something like minus 37 degrees. And we...
Is that Celsius?
Celsius, in Celsius, yeah. And we had a bit of snow yesterday. It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually we are trying to promote the winter tourism because currently the tourism seasonality is like only for 3 months, which is in the summer, which is a very short period of time. And Mongolia is trying to, promote more winter tourism and receive more tourists. Maybe show them some experience, the coldness and some activities related to the snow and ice. Actually, like I said before, we have the ice festival in the Lake Hoopskull, something like that, yeah. Also, yeah, it can be interesting, the tourism activity for countries such as, for example, Southeastern Asia, where it has more warm weather and with have no snow. It can be interesting.
Tell them also, for your honored guests, they give a special drink you can only find in Mongolia. Do you know what is this special drink? No? It's very good. It's called fermented horse's milk. If you are a special guest, they pass on a glass to you, and you're supposed to drink half, and then pass on the glass to all of the other guests. So, well, I'm not joking. That's for sure, for real. Anyway, go ahead. You have a question?
I think tourism is a really important industry for all of the countries here today within the CACCI network. Could you perhaps talk about how you got your government to do your Visit Mongolia strategy? Was that something that you as your chamber initiated, or any other tips there? Because I think we all would hope that we can also drive visitors to our countries as well, including here in Australia and in Melbourne. So thank you all for coming here as well. Cheers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the Visit Mongolia year is in 2023 and 24, and we have a working group consists of the ministry and our chamber, as well as the Mongolian Tourism Association, and everybody gathered together, as well as of course the private sector, and came up with a strategic plan to promote Mongolia. Most importantly, the things included was the e-visa, air transportation, liberalization, as well as improving the tourism service industry as well. Yes, the plan is there, and I think the activities will be taken step by step. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe perhaps Tsolmon can convince his government that when you visit a gold mine and when you stumble on a rock that looks like gold, you can take it home with you tax-free. So maybe you tell them that's the suggestion of a CACCI president, but not me, the new one. Yes, the new one is there. So.
Yeah. Please.
So, of course, I've been in Mongolia many times, and I like the country, I like the people, but what has to be done, of course, probably the government already considered, you have to have a e-visa first of all and cheap flights. So you have to attract not the major airlines, but also the budget airlines, so because the flight is quite expensive to Mongolia, and not too many tourists can afford to go there because it's far away and expensive. So the same problem we used to have in Georgia, and Georgia became one of the top destinations now in Eastern Europe. It's my country. And most importantly, we attract the budget airlines like Ryanair and Wizz Air, so, and then of course, you will have many as tourists as you can accommodate. So you have to build the hotels, the guest houses, and so it has huge potential actually, and it's a big country. So we hope. He represents the young generation of the chamber,
Yes,
so
yes.
one day we're gonna see you in the government probably. So
Yes.
So wish you success.
Yeah, in fact, I was very happy to see these two young gentlemen here, because I'm used to seeing Jamal and then myself in the mirror. We are not getting any younger, Jamal. But here's the next generation. But this is serious. We wish to actually get more young people involved in CACCI, not only at the entrepreneurial or innovation level, but really seriously the members that will be driving CACCI for the next 10 to 20 years. No? So that's what we need. We need young blood. We need the new ideas coming from young people like you. And so this is what we want to happen. We want to encourage because we want to see CACCI. You know, CACCI has been around for, I would think, 50 years.
Yep.
And we want to be able to see it around for the next 50. And for us to do that, we have to nurture young people and get young people involved in the organization. And you are an example of what's going on. And that's what our older generation, like Jamal and me, and Peter. Yeah, so well, that's our Pradeep also. You see, I can tell that the average age here is a lot higher than what I would like to see.
But look, yesterday, you know, Peter McMullen,
Yeah, I'd like
President-elect, I agree with you 100%. And I said to the young entrepreneurs panel yesterday what an inspiration they were for us, for our future work, and how we need to actually encourage a much more structured connection between CACCI and the young entrepreneur groups. And both your countries, the Philippines and Mongolia, are good examples. And I hope that we'll be able to make a visit to both your countries over the next period to see the conditions and to introduce people to. But I'll just tell you a story about Jamal here. He was the president of the Georgian Chamber of Commerce Industry, and I went on a CACCI tour, and then he asked me to become the consul for Georgia in Victoria, which I became. And so ever since then, I've been promoting tourism to Georgia to people who've probably never heard of Georgia. So I'm his representative here in Melbourne, and it's a good model, and I commend it to you. So find someone who can be a honorary consul for Mongolia here in Melbourne, and tourism will flow. So, but no, I'm not. It's not. This is not a job application.
Yeah. Okay, that's a very good suggestion, Peter. Mads, is that you? I don't have my glasses, so yes, that's Mads.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a question. Actually, I just want to share some information. The spirit of the entrepreneurial spirit of the young Mongolians is very strong, actually. And in fact, I just want to inform everybody that we also, aside from the young entrepreneurs, the Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneurs Award that CACCI gives out every 2 years, we also have the Woman Entrepreneur Award.
Ah, yes.
And we've had it, I think, for about 4 or 6 years already. And so far, we have had 2 winners of the Asia Pacific Woman Entrepreneur Award coming from Mongolia.
Oh.
So you can tell from those awards that they received that they really are very strong as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, especially the women entrepreneurs. And they have very good ideas. Like, for instance, the first winner of the Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneur, who is now also a member of YEGAP, one of the executive committee members, Ms. Kulan. She started her business in cosmetics, but using local ingredients.
Yeah,
and she has been very successful, and in fact, she is now registered, I think, in the US, and also doing her marketing through Amazon, I think. So she's been busy traveling to the US now, trying to promote her products, which are all locally produced in Mongolia. And also for the information of the young ladies here, to attract you to visit Mongolia, they have very good quality cashmere and pashmina there, which are very expensive if you buy them outside. But in Mongolia, it's quite very affordable. Yes.
Yeah,
Gobi. That's the brand name, Gobi.
Gobi.
And that's quite popular among the Hollywood celebrities. So if you visit there, you can have bargain as far as pashmina.
Right. Solomon,
That's for the information of the young
next
ladies.
CACCI meeting, you have to bring samples so that we can actually show them that it's one of the best, if not the best, cashmere in the world. So, and also, it's very inexpensive. I remember $10, $15. So it's a very nice place. Yes, Pradeep. Another.
Okay, let me first of all congratulate the two young presenters. I'm from Nepal. Actually, your young entrepreneurs, the forum was to be chaired by my young guy, Mangesh Shrestha. He is the chairman of the YEGAP. He could not make it. Philippines is a sea-locked and Mongolia is a landlocked country. But I think the two can be linked also. And personally, what I feel is that the youngsters today, because the CACCI has made a very good platform, but one has to be able to, link up. There is a saying that if you are not networking, then you are not working, So that's what, on that basis, I'm sure the youngsters has to be able to link up with each other. And I also like to advise that the CACCI was also thinking of having this Youth World Congress, only for the youths. So probably that could be one way to get these youths together. And I'm sure CACCI has to be behind, the secretary has to work. And Nepal was trying to host one of it in Nepal. But unfortunately, because of the COVID, they could not do it. But I'm going to tell the chairman of the Youth Forum to look into it seriously and get everybody, all the primary member countries of CACCI, to see that the youths are connected and let them have a forum, a good platform where they can really work for the betterment of the youth. Well, there are lots can be done. We are on the older generation guys, but still, we will guide you, we'll help you out to make sure that you have good days ahead. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pradeep. I thought you were going to say that Kashmir from Nepal is better than Mongolia.
Thank you.
It's not like going to be marketing each other, but of course, Nepal, of course, the country of Mount Everest, it's a cold country, not like Mongolia, but and last 3 years back, Nepal was also having this Visit Nepal year, but because of COVID, it had to be cancelled. So they are working, I think, 2025, I think, so that's what Nepal is looking into it. And the Pashmina also is one of the major product of export from Nepal. And it's very, very cheap, as Benedicto rightly said. You can buy lots. When you go to the Western countries, the same you are going to pay $100, $150, $200, whereas you'll get in maybe 20% of that price that you are paying outside the country. Anyway, you can also visit Nepal. You are most welcome, anybody.
Yeah. Also, the hotels are very good. You have a Mandarin hotel there, don't you? What is the
Shangri-La?
Huh?
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La Hotel? See, when we were there, we were all staying in a gur. No, not true. That was a tent that he showed. No, but there was only 1 or 2 hotels when we visited.
Yeah, we have now.
But now you have
yeah.
Shangri-La
Yeah.
and many other nice hotels there.
Yes, many other chain hotels. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, very good.
Yes, Kempinski, Novotel.
Kempinski, that's true.
Radisson
But
Blu,
is that the real or the fake one? I think when we were there was a fake Kempinski.
I think it's the real one.
Right? There was a fake Kempinski before, right?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're close to the time. Thank you very much. And I hope we learned something from this exchange. And again, we will visit Mongolia. And on the way to Mongolia, please visit our members, other members, including the Philippines. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much.